Welcome. You are about to take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show. For the next hour, allow her to prepare you in becoming a magnet for a profound love-infused relationship by identifying and focusing on solutions through love. Awaken the light within and let your essence shine. And now, here's Deborah Beauvais on Love by Intuition, all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Welcome, everyone. Bonjour, mes amis. And yes, here I am, Deborah Beauvais, as I say, the founder and owner of the Dream Vision 7 radio network. If you're tuning in for the first time, we are a Boston-based, fully producing internet radio station with all the bells and whistles. You can listen anywhere in the world. You can listen in the cars. You can ask Alexa to play Dream Vision 7 radio. And I want to invite you to check out our website. It's quite extensive. You can see what we're up to and also view and get to know all the amazing hosts we have. They're all from all over the country and world, and their hearts are just open to help you, the listener, find your true self and self-love and all that goodness that we find as we go on our journey. And that's really brings me to our guest, because she is full of energy. And her name is Luz Arteaga-Pray. She's an inspiring author, speaker, passionate educator, and a highly sought-after transformational coach. She's a dream builder. Transformational coach, to be exact, and she's trained in assisting you on designing the life you would love to live. She has, along the way, her occupation has been more than physical style, because she owns her own salon, and she's a licensed stylist, and her diverse environment setting has brought her to work with all kinds of people, kids, women, men, and her expertise in regards to style and their beauty regimen, which has brought her to be involved with coaching and helping people find their way. So without further ado, Luz, welcome to the show.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much. That was so lovely. Thank you so much for having me and being curious enough to listen to my little story and wanting to have a talk about it. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's an honor to have you. And, we are, we're connected now. So, and I want to do a shout out to Lydia Costa, because that's who,
right?
And I've known Lydia for, I don't even want to say how, decades. And
okay.
And so that's how we were introduced. So I know that it's a special connection. And
it sure is. She became my soul sister as soon as I met her. She's been instrumental in this next phase of my life. So I'm glad that you gave her a shout out. Shout out, Lydia.
And while we're doing that, let's give out the toll-free number, because this is a live show, and people can call in. Bob, when a caller comes in, you just put her through, he or she, and we'll be glad to talk with them.
I hope they call in.
Yes, me too. And your book is called Morphing in Stillness, a story of love, loss, and the beauty of transformation. I love the cover, by the way. It draws you in. So I really, whoever did that, did a beautiful job.
Thank you. That was my sister.
Gloria.
My sister's an artist, Gloria Arteaga. She has a great way of translating my visions in this, through life, but in this particular way, she really did it. She hit it right on the nail.
Good. Well, you can tell. And I've got the book right in my hand, so I see that the illustration is by Gloria. So it brings you in, and that's a fact. So let's start with your childhood. Tell us a little bit about what it was like being in your life as a child, and then did it mold you in certain ways?
Absolutely. So I am originally from Medellin, Colombia, South America. I am the youngest of 8 children. And yeah, and so I like to say that I was spoiled in love, not spoiled in material things, but I was definitely spoiled in attention. And so we came here to the States. My father was in the textile industry. He worked in a textile factory, and he saw an opportunity to bring us here. He wanted to educate us in the States, and in that thinking, it just so happened that his company was coming to the States. So he put himself in position to bring the company here in order to bring us here. And so we settled in Cumberland, Rhode Island, while he came here with my 2 older brothers to find a place to settle in, and ultimately he found Cumberland, Rhode Island. A lot of Colombian immigrants were coming to Central Falls, but my father wanted to immerse us in all American, all English-speaking community. And so that's why he decided Cumberland, Rhode Island. But yeah, I was the youngest, and I loved my upbringing. It was wonderful, wonderful.
Beautiful. That tells you something right there. So now, fast forward, and this is part of the book, is that you ended up meeting and marrying the most handsome man ever.
You know, it's funny. It happens to be his birthday today, so if he was listening, he'd be like all over this. But anyway, yeah, so after high school, I didn't go to college. I actually tried out for a scholarship for a Boston Conservatory dance program that I didn't get at the time, because also they knew that I had told them that I was the youngest of 8, and all my siblings were getting married, and in my family, my father had passed away 4 years after we had gotten to the States. And so my siblings were going to the military, they were moving away, they were getting married. So my sibling next to me, 3 years older than me, and my brother were left with my mom, which, you know, we were young, so we were still finishing school. And I couldn't see me going to college at that time. I felt like my journey was to get a job and, support my mom and support where we were living along with my brother. So that's what I did. I wanted to get to work right away, and hairdressing was where I ended up going. And in that avenue, I ended up finding a place that was very stable. It was a big salon on the east side. And that summer, I met someone who was diagonally across from the salon, working on the Brown bookstore, extending it. And they were on a timely job. They needed to be done by the next school year. So all summer they were around the clock. And every time, at the time, I was new at the salon, so I was everybody's gopher. So as I would do errands for my salon and do stuff, I came across this one guy kind of stood out to me. And so now I was excited to go and do errands for my bosses and things because this guy kind of stood out. And so he was kind of the talk of the street that summer, although there were about, 30 guys at that construction site. He was the one that stood out. And he stood out to everybody. He stood out to me, but I kept getting clients coming in saying, "Ooh, did you see the guy over there?" I'm thinking, what guy? There's like 30 guys over there, but I knew who they were talking about. And so that was the summer that I met the man that ultimately became my husband. And
when reading the book and finding you you've accomplished quite a bit, because you got married and then you were able to have some land and build a house. You had 4 children.
Yeah.
Everything that you could possibly want as far as a young woman and what they aspire to.
Oh,
and
my
I know
goodness,
that,
yes.
yeah, and I know that, you know, it changes for some people. Some people go on to focus on their career and then get married later. So there's options. But you really had everything, but then you started to think about how you were feeling, and it didn't. So tell us about that, because there's a lot to consider. And
Absolutely.
you know what? I'm wondering, did I give the phone number out? I don't think I did.
I don't know. I didn't hear it.
Yeah. It's 833-220-1200 for those that are wondering, 833-220-1200. So anyway, so share about what changed, and here you are in love with this amazing man.
And so my life was full of, so in my getting a job after high school, my friends went all to college. I was concerned and focused and wanted to and driven on building a career. So meeting someone was the last thing I wanted. Meeting someone was not something I was focused on. Marriage and this kind of fairy tale life of growing and meeting someone and having children was not something I had in my back pocket of dreams. Not that I didn't put it down, it was just not a dream of mine. And so when I met this man, and he was lovely and soft-spoken and humble and came from a really just humble lifestyle, it was very attractive. It was very attractive to me, and it grew, and I fell into I say I fell into it, but also openly fell into this life of falling in love and building a life with this man who was just, again, I cannot say enough how lovely he is. So what happened? So we built a home. We had a plot of land. He came from a farming family. So most farming families come with really deep roots of building family ties and family businesses. And so I knew I had a man who was hardworking and loyal. And as time went on, we had our 5 years building a home from our own money. And when I say we built it, we literally, after work, went to the site and, cleared the land, cleared the stuff. We lived in a trailer in the meantime, and it wasn't this upscale, beautiful RV. It was a 1972 tin box. Which we were very proud of. When we got married, we were very proud of it. It was our very first thing. It was beautiful. It was simple and lovely. And so ultimately we had, child number 1, child number 2, child number 3 came along. Everything was lovely. And ultimately, I felt like we still I still felt a little unsettled. We talked about child number 4, and he convinced me, this is perfect. Let's not touch it. And December 2007, child number 4 came along. And in the hustle and bustle of life, I owned a salon when my children were, that's when I bought a salon and I was the boss, and my husband took a lot on as the mother and father of our family, as I was trying to balance the life of a mother and a business owner and be this example. And of course, you know, nothing's really what you perceive it will be. It's always a little different.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, which is a beautiful thing, but it definitely took a toll. The reality is it took a toll on us as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do you think that's where it started?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I wanted to be the example and live the American dream at the cost of the couple that we were. We were just trying to survive. I found myself not even being part of the family that I decided to have. You know, he was a coach. He was the birthday party guy. He brought them everywhere. You know, Saturday is a very big day at the salon. And Saturdays is where the pool parties are, the birthday parties are. And so to a degree, I started to feel, okay, he's having all of that. Where is my position in this institution, in this union? But he had it going on. He did it very well. But I started to think, wait, well, where is my role in my family? And so there's where my perception of it all kind of played a part of the demise. There's where my part started to play the other role of, wait, where's my family going? How come I'm not there? But then I had a business, which is the decision I made, right? So anyway,
right, but it's a balance. I mean, with a woman, you know, it's different for the woman because when she has the business, she still has the kids, and she's balancing it all. And good, you know, you were fortunate to have the father involved so closely. Absolutely. But yet that can put someone out of balance and yet you have the independence of wanting to aspire to whatever you could be. And so I think that happens to a lot of couples and then if there are situations where the way the father is brought up, he may not embrace the idea of his wife starting a business. And so there's a lot of different pieces to it that can create what you now know was your path. So how did you share with the listeners, did it go on for years where you felt, what about me? Where is my place in the family?
So ultimately, my business, actually, my salon flooded. It was underneath, it was actually in a basement. We owned a building, and we had a spa above us, or whatever, and the salon was underneath, so it flooded. And ultimately, I saw it as an opportunity for me to kind of put my business and not be a business owner. I thought, this is an opportunity to kind of shut this down at this part of my life, go back to my family, be a wife and mother. Mostly, my big concern was being connected to my husband. I wanted to get back to that. And so I went back. So I closed my salon. And I rented a chair up the street from actually friends of mine who are friends of mine today. That's where I am. I still own my own business, but I rent a chair in their salon. And I was very excited about getting back to my life as a mother and domestic person, but most excited about being a wife and a partner and a girlfriend and a lover and all of that to my husband. Once I got back there, it wasn't really the case. He ran his home a certain way. I felt like I was in the way. So finding my domestic feet again was a little bit of work, but I did. And you know, my kids still were the prominent factor at that time, which, you know, was wonderful. He was a coach. He was in their lives. I kind of was a little bit of an afterthought, I felt. That was my perception. And so getting back to the couple was really hard. It was very difficult. And for a long time, how do I say? For a long time, I felt kind of not heard. Not the children were at the forefront, which was a great thing, right? We put our children first. We want to put them in a position of success. And so I felt very lost. I felt very, how do I say, outside the unit of a family. And so it was really difficult to get back there. And so I really had to kind of assess personally what I was feeling, and I had to kind of really go deep in my place of the family. We ended up going to a lot of therapy as a couple, and found out that ultimately I felt so unheard for so long after trying to kind of interpret my process of coming from a business owner back into that domestic place and be his partner. I felt so unheard for so long that I just felt I couldn't get back. I couldn't get back to the role.
Yeah, which is understandable, and I can feel that. We need to take our first break already, Luz. Everyone out there, stay with us. We're going to take a few minute break, and we'll come back, and I'll share some information about how you can contact Luz. We'll be back in a moment.
Okay.
Experience a different yet profound healing with Reconnective Healing. Includes yet expands beyond any and all known forms of energy healing. The Reconnective Healing spectrum is comprised of the full healing and evolutionary continuum of energy, light, and information. It allows for healings that are not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional, yet go beyond that to bring healing that includes the evolution of your very being and essence. Deborah Beauvais, trained and certified by world-renowned Dr. Eric Pearl, offers appointment hours at Seekonk Family Chiropractic in Seekonk, Massachusetts. For questions or to set up both distance or local sessions, call Deborah at 508-431-1959. Again, 508-431-1959. Or go to lovebyintuition.com. That's lovebyintuition.com.
Calling all authors. Have you been considering an audiobook? Well, look no further. Come take advantage of DreamVision 7 Radio Network's unique in-house audiobook production, which includes benefits and bonuses from our radio station. Let our knowledgeable staff guide you to create the audiobook you've always dreamed of without breaking the bank. Check out our full one-stop service from A to Z, including the ACX process. Schedule a free consultation by calling 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or go to DreamVision7Radio.com.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first-grade teacher Caitlin Royd DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those two questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowd-funded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, the number 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back, and you're listening to the Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. You can catch Love by Intuition show Monday through Friday and live on Tuesdays, and that's 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. We are with Luz, and I believe I pronounced her middle name incorrectly, but Luz Arteaga-Pray.
Yeah, no, you're great. You're perfect.
Okay. Well, I say Arteaga, but I think I heard you say it differently, so...
Americans say it Arteaga. It's Arteaga, but Arteaga is fine. It's perfect. Oh. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. And so if you want to get in touch with Luz, because she does interactive workshops, she does all kinds of strategy sessions, things of that sort, and we're going to be getting into that a little bit later in the show. But you can go on her site, and I'm going to spell it. It's V as in Victor, E as in egg, Y as in yes, A as in apple, L as in love, A as in apple, L-U-Z, like her name, L-U-Z.
So Deborah, I want you to say it. Go ahead.
I'm going to say
VeaLaLuz.com. And
okay.
So the reason why I asked you to say it is because it's the phonetic way to say Vea la Luz. Vea la Luz means see the light in Spanish, see the light. And so okay. Americans, when they see that, they pronounce it correctly. Vea la Luz.
Very good.
SeeTheLight.com.
I love that. Yes. So now getting back to your journey, and now we'll get to the point where you're in love with this man. It was how many? And you were married for 30 years.
Yeah. Well, we were married for 25. We were together for 30. We were together for 30. Yes.
All right. So now you're in love with this man. You have your 4 children. You have your whole life, and yet you weren't happy. So it must have taken quite a bit of bravery to actually leave that kind of environment, because those of us that, there are so many other relationships that start domestic violence, all kinds of different things happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I questioned, I thought to myself, wow, like, I'm not getting abused. He's not a drinker. I'm not all of this. Yet, why am I so unhappy? What is going on inside of me? The question is, what's going on inside of me? I have this life. I have things that everyone strives for. And yet, what's going on with me is what I really need to look at. And so it took 10 years of me questioning what's going on. And because you don't come to that decision easily, do you? Is that, well, I'm not getting abused. I'm not, being tortured. I'm not being, so why am I unhappy? And so it has to start. I have to start looking inside of what is going on with me. And so when that happened, I was always a meditator, but ultimately I kind of turned up the volume a little more on my meditation, and I got really quiet. Which I feel today I stand strong, and I do my talks. I do my talks to whatever audience it is, somehow, some way, getting quiet and getting still comes into my talks, in that it's the only way to really see and hear what the truth of us is. And so that's the core of my book, is how I got through something really difficult, because I took it really serious. Our families were great. We were good, but apparently we weren't. Everything else looked fine. 4 children, big house, wonderful guy, beautiful children. But how come I'm not happy? And so ultimately, the journey was within. And I needed to get really still in order to listen and hear what it was that I needed. And ultimately, I got to the place of I outgrew this life, or it outgrew me. I felt so unheard for so long that I needed to get to another place. And so my story is about the process that took me to the awakening that I'm in today, which is the life that I'm living now.
Yeah, now the awakening, really, did that come to be when you left and then the pandemic hit, and now you're with all this silent time and being aware of meditation, starting to really going within, reading books and doing everything you could to find out the truth of who you were or are?
And so right before the pandemic, we came to the realization that we needed to separate, which was both relieving and heart-wrenching, right? Because we had these 4 people watching us. We had 4 people that we really, really wanted to be an example to. And so ultimately, we came to the decision of going through this in grace, meaning coming to the end of our relationship inside of love. I think, I can't speak for him, but ultimately I think he came to the fact that he wasn't happy either. But I will say that the decision to do it inside of love, meaning respect, putting our stuff, our resentment, or whatever it was that was hurting us, we would deal with it on our own, in our own time. But what our children were going to see was we can do hard things, and as hard as this is, we can do this loving each other. In a time, it was 2020 at the time, so a lot of indecision was happening at that time too, with COVID and all of that. Everybody was just in the air, and to come together and stay inside of grace was really important for us. And so I was living alone for the first time. So John actually inspected my apartment, making sure it was safe and nearby. And inside of that, I thought, I'm gonna rally to my girlfriends and family, my siblings. They're gonna help me through this. And then COVID hit, and I wasn't able to be near anyone. And yet
there are no coincidences, as we know. Absolutely. It was perfect timing for you.
Absolutely. it was perfect, right, Deborah? It was perfect. It was what was supposed to happen. And so here I am thinking I'm going to reach out and get the energy for my girlfriends and for my siblings, and I'm going to get through this with their energy. The universe had other plans in saying, you're going to sit by yourself. You're going to be inside your stuff, whatever that is, and you're going to work this out. You've never lived alone? Well, here it is. Here's the opportunity to see I can't swear, right? I can't swear, Deborah?
That's right.
Okay, here's your stuff. Here's your ugly stuff, your uncomfortable stuff, and you're going to sit with it. And, one can only drink so much in that time. We decided that the kids were going to stay in the home, so I left, which is a whole other show.
That's right. I mean, that alone is a journey.
The mother leaves the home. That's between you and I as women says something. So I got to stay focused on what I needed to get to, and that was my stuff. I needed to get quiet, which was what the world was showing me. It was the perfect storm, really. It's like being a little animal being cornered. And so when an animal is cornered, they retaliate and have to deal with however they need to survive. And that's what it was like. It was ugly, it was painful, it was heart-wrenching. But then I reached for a pen or a pencil, and I started writing. And writing, not on a computer, but on paper. Writing the words and expressing myself was something that was really useful. And then it had a rhythm. I talked to my sisters, and I told them what I was doing. And it had a rhythm. It became rhythmic. And it became this little story. And it really got me through. It really got me through that time. And then I thought, instead of having this to myself, if I feel this way, why not share it? I didn't do a book tour, but I thought I'd put it out there. And it was really healing. It was incredibly healing.
Yes, I bet. So you found a lot of who you were during that time. In the book, you talk about your GPS that we all have, and listening to your feelings, because a lot of us have been brought up with the opposite. You don't look at your feelings, but now after you awaken, you know that you really listen, and if it's painful, you run to the pain instead of running away.
Absolutely. Ultimately, we have to be the ones that look within to determine who we are, right? I mean, if I want to be an example to my children, I have to be willing to get quiet enough to hear my own truth, right? As hard as it is to hear, whether it's pretty or it's ugly, if I can't come to my own blankety blank, I want to say my stuff, then who am I to my kids? Who am I to be that example for them if I can't come to my own ugly? And ultimately, the truth is, it's never really about the other person. They have their weight, they have their weight, and they have their stuff, but I cannot speak to that. I can only speak to mine and my contribution to whatever happened in this union. And it deserves that. It deserves that because I still cherish it. I in no way think that 30 years of this experience and what it brought to my life, no way do I think that this ending is a failure.
Good.
If anything, I think it's an asset to my life. And so I choose to think of it that way because I have a good relationship with him today, and my children see that. And that's really the story, right? That's the story that no matter, we're always going to kind of, if it isn't this, if it isn't this that my children have to kind of navigate through, or I have to navigate through, it's going to be something else. So if we can't find the other side of this, as heart-wrenching as it is, then what are we here for, right? I just, what are we here for? Yeah.
That's right. Well, we're coming up on a break, and when we come back, I want to ask you, who you are. What is your truth? What did you come to realize about yourself? And then some other questions, and about self-care.
Okay.
And the time is going by quickly. So everyone stay with us. You can still call in. Bob is in the house. 833. Where am I?
Where are you?
833-220-1200. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids Children's Book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times best-selling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, Chaos to Clarity, and Crappy to Happy, you'll love crying and laughing through Mayhem to Miracles. Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope, available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back. Luz, what did you find when you spent that time? And I know once you become awakened, we're on the journey until we leave the earth. So we're constantly transforming, evolving, all of that. But were you surprised to learn about yourself, or did you always know your core?
You know, that's a great question. We're in constant becoming, right? We're constantly becoming. And so what I found was that I needed to be patient, that I needed to forgive myself for figuring it out. I've only done this once. I have this life for one time. And that we're all kind of in the making. We're constantly in the making. I think women especially think that we need to have it going on. We need to be the perfect mothers. We need to know what our children need. We need to have it going on. We need to be the perfect wives. We don't know where that comes from. I really don't know where that comes from. But in this process, and actually, I'll tell you right now, is John was someone who was instrumental in telling me, listen, we go through ebbs and flows. This is what it's about. We don't have it figured out. And when we take the steps that are written of how to do this, not all of us fit in that category. And so what I've learned is to be patient with myself, and that I am who I am. And that's okay. And it has to be okay. It has to be enough, because that's all I got. This is all I know. This is all I know.
Yes, let's take a pause because we have a caller, and it's actually Lydia. Lydia, come on in. Lydia?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Welcome to the show.
I'm enjoying your conversation, listening to two terrific women that I've always admired.
Oh, my gosh.
Thank you. We admire you.
Oh, my God. I'm going to just hold it together. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I met Luz when she was in the middle of her journey. And so, of course, I learned about her story and have watched her just grow and blossom and share since I've met her. What was it, about 5 years ago, Luz?
Yes.
Yes. And it's just been wonderful. It's just been wonderful. And her book is just, she just explains everything so beautifully, and it's so different reading the book than listening to the conversation, and the different expressions and so on and so forth. But anyway, I just wanted to call to say hi. I don't want to shorten what she has to say.
Thank you so much, Lydia. I love you.
Oh, love you girls both.
And
take
love
care.
You too, Lydia. Thanks for calling in. You take care.
Deb. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Well, that was nice for her to grace our airwaves.
Are you kidding me? That was a plus. Absolutely.
Yes. So did you want to elaborate, or we can jump to what is the nuggets that you can take from this experience and where you are today?
Well, I think the nuggets are we have to kind of be accountable for our part in every experience.
Sure.
I think as much as hard as it is to do, we have to take accountability for our participation in certain experiences, and hopefully we can dig enough to see what we need to learn from them. So awareness is big. You know, I've recently had an experience where I kind of fell into old habits. I feel like I brought old habits into a new experience, and just my awareness of it was a step forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's a big deal. You know, my own journey is going to take as long or as much as it needs to take. But I'm not behind. I'm not ahead. I'm just on my journey, and I need to just be accepting of that. It's mine. Yeah. It's mine alone.
Right. And then and just be. Sometimes we need to just be. And
Period.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, we have so much information coming at us. You know, I have a podcast. I have a YouTube channel. I have all this stuff going on, just kind of expressing my experience through there. And so as I learn all these platforms, I'm thinking, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm doing what I know how to do, and that's enough. That's
that is enough.
That is always enough. And so that's the stuff that I need to kind of keep myself in, that my journey is mine, and that where I am has to be enough.
Yes. I mean, that is a key point to, I think, most human beings, especially women, where they feel they're not enough. And it's really what society has done in this country of, the way they see women. Even today, in the year coming up, 2025, it's So we're used to feeling that way from when we were children at times, where are we good enough? Are we enough? Can we, should we be more? What's wrong with me here? What's wrong with me there?
I know.
There isn't anything wrong at all. We're all finding our way. And we all have that inner power. We are powerful in all that we choose to do. And it's just a matter of making that choice and seeing how powerful we are. So
that's it.
Yeah. So are you at peace now with your choices of leaving and all that transpired?
100%. 100%. I have a great relationship with my ex-husband. He is an incredible father and is in a great relationship, which has nothing to do with me. I'm happy for him. I am a life coach. I'm a paid speaker. I am a podcaster. I am doing a lot of creative things that I don't know why, and we don't need to go into that, but felt like I couldn't express myself in that environment that way. Mm-hmm. So I've come through a lot of stuff and have had and are and am giving myself experiences that I wouldn't have otherwise. So I feel very content. I'm happy where I am. I'm not looking further than where I am, and it's just really lovely. My children are thriving. And so I couldn't have a better situation at the moment. I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate that he also is open to having this experience, being in grace. Because ultimately, when we're angry, resentful, and hurt, that limits us. But we chose to reach for grace. We chose to reach for healing in ourselves, however we did it. And today we're just really blessed. We're really blessed. It's not an everyday thing, which is why I thought my story was worth telling.
Absolutely.
It's not sugar-coated. It's not, there are things that I chose not to put in the book, but that's between him and I. But in the big picture, we chose grace, and I wanted to share that because the word divorce is a bad word. And I get it. I people have other experiences, and I get why it can be angry, and I respect that. Everybody's situation is different, so I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate.
Yes, because when you have that love connection, and you're coming from the light perspective,
absolutely.
You're both choosing, and at the same time, you're teaching the kids, even as they go into their own relationships, how to come from a place of love, how to be the light, how to look at things from different perspectives, and understand other people's perspectives as well. And what's better than that?
Right? What's better than that? Because ultimately we have circumstances, all kinds of circumstances. If it wasn't this, it was going to be something else. And so why not choose? Luckily, we had the space and the breath to breathe in and say, this is how we're going to do it.
Yes.
So,
yes, I can feel that, and it's a beautiful energy.
Yeah, we're very fortunate, and I'm very blessed still.
Yes, and I think that this is just the beginning for you with all that you're choosing to do with the book and the podcast. I can see that it's, everything can just open like a flower and just blossom and burst with all kinds of goodness for you.
Deborah, you get me. You get me.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. I love that.
You're welcome. So we only have a couple of minutes remaining. Tell everyone how to get in touch with you, if they would like a coaching session, things of that sort.
Okay, well, you can go on to VeyaLaLuz.com, VeyaLaLuz.com, VeyaLaLuz.com. You can get in touch with me there. And really, that's the place where we can connect and talk about anything you want to talk about. I do speaking engagements mostly I've done high schools, and I've talked about the power of being still to high schools. Mm-hmm. So that always seems to come up. I've done women's groups and associations, and they've somehow, some way, sitting still, it really comes into play in any kind of platform. So I also have a podcast called Bold Moves. It's on Spotify. I'm still kind of learning how to do the technicalities of it, but ultimately I will try to learn more and continue the podcast. Bold Moves by Luz on Spotify. You can find me there. And I will post it on my Facebook page and all of that. So anyway.
I like the name. That's cute.
Yeah,
it rings.
Really great.
It rings.
It's really great. I have to send you the trailer. The trailer says it all. I haven't been able to send you the trailer, but Bold Moves, the umbrella of Bold Moves. We're constantly making bold moves every day. It's relative to our lifestyle, so it's a great discussion.
Yes, we are, and we're constantly evolving, whether we believe it or not, whether we want it or not. We're evolving.
That's right.
Yes, and so we're trusting that the new year coming up, it'll be here before you know it, that love will rise and be strong. And
you just got to be open. You just got to be open. That's all.
Yes.
Be open.
Yes. Yep. Open heart as well. So everyone, thank you, Luz, for coming on the show. I've so enjoyed you. And
thank you, Deborah. Thank you for being curious enough to want to know my story and talk about it.
Of course. You are so welcome, and it's our honor. And until we meet again, and everyone out there, yes, everyone out there listening, share the show. Get the book, Morphing in Stillness. Get that book and just share the show and let it have that energy that just keeps going for Luz until we come together again in love and unity consciousness. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Are you seeking a clearer path to love? Then tune in to the Love by Intuition show next week. All designed to your highest good. To contact Deborah Beauvais, owner of Empowered Connections, call her at 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or link on to lovebyintuition.com. Remember, we are all one, and we are all part of the miracle of love.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.